And welcome back to Sports Weekly on IEMG. In this segment, we're going to hear from the new volleyball coach at San Bernardino Valley College, Robert Van Sant for the Wolverines, trying to get SBVC back to their winning ways. It's been a long time since the Wolverines have had a winning season and made it to the playoffs, but Coach Van Sant obviously very plugged into the local club scene, and also was the former head coach at Redlands East Valley. So he's going to be recruiting the IE and the city of San Bernardino, trying to get some of our top players to play for SBVC. Here's our interview with SBVC volleyball coach Rob Van Sant. And now join us here on the show. He is the new volleyball coach at San Bernardino Valley College for SBVC. It is Robert Van Sant. And Rob, first off, congratulations on the new gig. Obviously, your name is synonymous with local volleyball. Why now to jump back into a head coaching position, and why SBVC at this point?
That's a really good question. When the COVID pandemic hit, was coaching at Redlands East Valley, and we've been there for a long time, my wife and I, and it just seemed like it was a good time to kind of give that up. Then I immersed myself in Cal State San Bernardino with that program as a volunteer assistant for the past 2 years. I really just wanted to kind of continue to learn with the game, be involved with a program that is very successful around the area, and learn from Kim Chernis and Danny Scott there. Then that kind of rolled into San Bernardino Valley's job was opened. I talked with Dave Rubio, the athletic director there, and it just seemed like a perfect fit, a good time to kind of jump back in with both feet and, give everything I can to try to kind of help the local college scene.
Well, Coach, with that said, you just touched on it, being at Cal State San Bernardino and being around such a, tradition-rich program. What are some things maybe you learned just about coaching, maybe about running a program that you can, implement at SBVC?
Yeah, I think the number one and the top thing with the type of athletes that we coach now is communication is a big deal, and sometimes not taking things for granted that they understand or they get everything that we're trying to accomplish. But I think communication, whether it's in their personal lives or about volleyball or on the court, is, I would say, that the main thing, and really being clear on what your objectives are, really being clear on what your expectations are. And so I think, learning that from that program really opens up an avenue where kids feel comfortable, they're more responsive. And so I think that's probably the number one thing I kind of took away from there.
Coach, you had a great run at Rev, and I know you're on the club volleyball scene as well, but do you feel like maybe you're a different coach today than you were maybe 5-10 years ago, or even, before that?
Yeah, absolutely. As the years go on, I do reflect back on some of the beginnings of this kind of journey, I guess, and 100% completely different than I was, 5 years ago. Just a different mindset. Really trying to teach not just the skills of the game, but the mental approach to the game. Those are things that I've learned along the way to try to help players be the best that they can be. So definitely a lot of changes throughout the years.
Obviously your daughter Krista is one of the all-time greats from this area, and seeing her going through the high school experience, the college experience, and even beyond that, did it maybe open your eyes to, ways different programs coach? I don't know if it's the Washington Huskies or whoever, just different programs, different teams, how they coach or how they prepare their players. They kind of open your eyes based on her experience. Like, okay, this is how some of the top level teams do it. When I get back into head coaching, or even maybe you took it to Cal State, like this is the way I want to kind of do things again.
Yeah, I did take a lot of things from that aspect. I worked some camps up at Washington when Krista was there, but I also worked some camps at Villanova and Illinois. And the way that they do things, the way they communicate, the way that their philosophies on different things are much different. So I think it's good for me to hear different philosophies on the game of volleyball. From the highest level. And I think I did bring that back and try to instill that with my high school teams and over at Cal State. They were very open to just different ideas. And so I think everybody's looking for a little bit of an edge or something that they can improve on. And so, yeah, definitely took a different approach for sure.
So, Coach, as we get closer to the season, I assume your first match is probably like mid-August or late August, right around there. Are you able to get the team together and start like summer workouts? Are you still recruiting maybe for the upcoming team? Like, what are some things that you're doing right now to kind of get ready for that first season in SBVC?
Yeah, so the first thing I did is try to contact some of the returners that were looking forward to coming back, or maybe decided that they didn't want to come back, and try to, talk to them and get them back on board. A more veteran team is probably going to be most of the time a more successful team, but there was a large kind of exodus of players that kind of decided, this isn't for me. I'm going to move on and do different things. So we do have a couple of returners coming back, but the large majority are going to be freshmen. We've had a very successful recruiting time since I've been on board. I think we have a great solid core right now. We are still out recruiting, but we do have a team together that is going to be what I believe is going to be successful. They're going to be motivated to try to change a little bit, but they're definitely athletic and motivated recruits that we have coming in. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about them. And they're excited to be there. That's another, I don't have to worry about that. They want to come, they want to learn, they want to get better. So that makes my job a little bit easier. So as of right now, we're doing really well. We're doing really well. I'm really excited about getting started, and we'll start on July 3rd.
Coach, obviously you know this, but the high school talent in the area, I mean, you don't have to go very far to find some really good players to put in your program. So just in terms of recruiting, do you feel like, hey, there's enough players in the surrounding cities and communities that, SBVC could be pretty good pretty fast if you can get the right players in the program?
It really can. We just have to get to them a little bit early and entice them to continue to play. There is a lot of athletic kids in our area that decide, well, I'm just going to go to college just to, for my education, and they kind of give up on volleyball a little bit. So if we can get to them a little bit early and tell them, what a great experience is going to be and might lead to bigger and better things down the line, that'll be a plus. But definitely a lot of talent in the area, a lot of athletic kids. Some of the recruits we have this year, are from the area, from Summit in Fontana to San Gorgonio to Riverside King, just to name a few, local schools. So it's definitely a place that can be built. We just got to create a good, positive environment there that kids want to go. I mean, the great facilities they have at San Bernardino Valley College now are, I mean, I don't know of anything really better in the junior college ranks, just because everything's pretty new. Mm-hmm. I was last on campus probably, I don't know. I went to school there out of high school. I played basketball there in 1990. And when I walked on campus to meet with Dave Rubio, I was really amazed at I didn't even know. And I live right here. So I was pleasantly surprised. And I just looked at it as that this is a win-win for me, because students that come on campus can see the wonderful facilities that the Valley College has to offer, and they really do care about their kids. They want them to be successful, and they have everything that they have to be successful there. So I'm super excited about that in itself.
Yeah, that should help recruiting too, like you said, getting the kids on campus and seeing the awesome new facilities. And Coach, this is kind of a recruiting question, but I was going back through the archives of the volleyball program, and I think about 10 years ago, I think it was 2012, they won 10 games, and that was like the most they've won in, I don't know, maybe 20 years. They haven't had a winning season in a long, long time. I think at least 2 decades. So, what's the key to turning around the program? Is it recruiting? Is it getting the right players into the program? Is that kind of the first step in, trying to get a winning season, a playoff spot, whatever those goals might look like for your team?
Yeah, I think that is key. It is getting the right players in there that are all on a mission for the same goal. That's where the coach kind of comes in to kind of mold that together. But yeah, keeping the kids around and making it a positive experience for them is, I think, number one. So coming back to your question, yeah, recruiting is important. Getting the local kids to kind of buy in, that looks at Valley as not, and coaches too, to kind of guide their players like, hey, Valley has a great program. Mm-hmm. You have a good coach over there that can get you to where you want to go. So that might be an option. You should look into that, instead of saying, well, Valley hasn't been good in a while, so I don't know if that's a place you want to go. So, trying to connect with coaches as well, that, hey, good things are going to happen at Valley College. I'm excited about it.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Weekly on IEMG. My name is Pep Fernandez. Make sure you subscribe to the IE Media Group YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.